Who am I? Well, that's an interesting question. And I believe if a person will start to study that and look for the answer, they'll find it. See, I think we live simultaneously on three planes of understanding. We're spiritual creatures, we have an intellect, and we live in physical bodies.
Okay.
But because we lack awareness or understanding of who we are, we're totally locked into a physical world, and we let things outside of us control us. 95% of the population are reacting to life. They're not really living at all.
Don't waste your damn life. And then you think, well, why would people be resistant to that message? It's like, well, you really want to wake up and figure out that you're wasting half your life? And you know, when people do that kind of wasting, they actually hate it. It's like, so it's painful. It's painful to recognize that.
I believe that all of us came here with something. All of us showed up to give something, and that nobody's going to give that service that you have to give. No one's going to produce your product. No one's going to write your book. No one's going to open your academy. No one's going to begin to create your daycare with a special curriculum to help to cultivate the high self-esteem in our children. That's your idea. And if you don't bring your idea out here, when you die, all of us will suffer because we've been deprived of your genius because you allowed butt to keep you in the bleachers and not pursuing your greatness. You take it to your grave with you. And that's what most people do.
Our imagination, there's a power flowing into our consciousness. And through our imagination, we build the image of what we want. This is the dream. I see what I want. And I've got this beautiful dream. I impress it upon the subconscious, and it turns into a desire. So you don't get what you want, you get what you desire. Waddell's pointed out the science of getting rich. The desire is the effort of the unexpressed possibility within, seeking expression without, through your action. Well, that desire is expressed through the instrument of the body because it changes the vibration the body's in. The vibration causes you to act, and the action sets up an attraction. And it's the action attraction that alters the results.
You may not be able to do all you find out. I understand that. You may not be able to do all you find out, but you should find out all you can do. See, you don't want to wind up at the end of your life and discover that you've lived only 1/10 of it. And the other 9/10 went down the drain. Not for lack of opportunity, for lack of information.
If you fall down 100 times in a day, what does it matter? For a committed man, there is no such thing as failure. If you fall down 100 times, 100 lessons to be learned. If you commit yourself like this to creating what you really care for, now your mind gets organized. Once your mind gets organized, the way you think is the way you feel, your emotion will get organized. Once your thought and emotion is organized, your energies will get organized in the same direction. Once your thought, emotion and energies are organized, your very body will get organized. Once all these four are organized in one direction, your ability to create and manifest what you want is phenomenal. You are the creator in many ways.
Often I begin a seminar with a little exercise. I ask the audience, how many people here would like to double their incomes? Almost everyone smiles and raises their hands. I then ask, how many people here would like to lose weight, get out of debt, achieve financial independence? Again, everyone smiles, some people cheer, and they all raise their hands. Then I say, wonderful, these are great goals that everyone has. We all want to make more money, spend more time with our families, be fit and trim, and achieve financial independence. Not only do we all want the same things, but we all know what we have to do to achieve them. And we all intend to do those things sometime. But before we get started, we decide that we need to take a little vacation to a wonderful fantasy place called Someday I'll. We say that, someday I'll read that book. Someday I'll start that exercise program. Someday I'll upgrade my skills and earn more money. Someday I'll get my finances under control and get out of debt. Someday I'll do all the things that I know I need to do to achieve all my goals. Someday. Probably 80% of the population lives on Someday I'll most of the time. They think and dream and fantasize about all the things they're going to do someday. And who are they surrounded by on Someday I'll? Other people on Someday I'll. And what is the chief topic of conversation on Someday I'll? Excuses. They all sit around and swap excuses for being on the island. Why are you here? They ask each other. And, not surprisingly, their excuses are largely the same. I didn't have a happy childhood. I didn't get a good education. I don't have any money. My boss is really critical. My marriage is no good. No one appreciates me. Or, the economy is terrible. They have come down with the disease of excusitis, which is invariably fatal to success. They all have good intentions, but as everyone knows, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. The first rule of success is simple. Vote yourself off the island. No more excuses. Do it or don't do it, but don't make excuses. Stop using your incredible brain to think up elaborate rationalizations and justifications for not taking action. Do something, do anything. Get on with it. Repeat to yourself, if it's to be, it's up to me. Losers make excuses. Winners make progress. Now, how can you tell if your favorite excuse is valid or not? It's simple. Look around and ask, is there anyone else who has my same excuse who is successful anyway? When you ask this question, if you're honest, you'll have to admit that there are thousands and even millions of people who've had it far worse than you, who have gone on to do wonderful things with their lives. And what thousands and millions of other people have done, you can do as well, if you try. It's been said that if people put as much energy into achieving their goal as they spend making up excuses for failure, they would actually surprise themselves. But first, you have to vote yourself off the island.
Here's how to really cash in on this year. Number one, get serious. Life is serious. We call it life or death. Somebody asked me one time if I had a good description of life. I said, yes, I think I've got a good one. Life is the struggle to keep death at a respectable distance. Right? Death seems to want to move in prematurely. If you want to live a good, long, flourishing life, you got to push back. You can't just give in. You got to push back. And we're dealing with some serious matters here. So we can't just, tell the latest 10 jokes and just go home. We're not here to entertain. We're here to instruct. We're here to grow. We're here to learn. We're here to get the best we possibly can. Serious. Life is serious. The future is serious. One ancient novelist said, these are the best of times and these are the worst of times. And for some of those who came across this platform at the extravaganza, $1 million a year incomes, for them, it's the best of times. But I want you to know that while they're getting the diamonds and the millions, there are a lot of people around the world, for them, it is the worst of times. The best of times and the worst of times. That's called serious matter. How come such a difference from those who can reach such incredible heights and those who haven't yet found the answers for their life and their health and their future? We just have to ponder that and let that give us a note of seriousness, a note of seriousness. It's serious whether you win or lose. It's serious whether you succeed or fail. It's serious whether you've got a good future carved out for yourself or you do not have. These are serious matters. Matters of the heart are serious. Matters of income are serious. Matters of supporting your family, serious. See what you can do, touch the lives of as many people as you can possibly touch. Number one was get serious. Here's number two, get smart. That's what these journals are for. That's what pad and pencil's for. That's what taking notes is for. See if you can't increase your ability to comprehend ideas, information that can be life transforming. Don't miss the opportunity to learn. Take a good key phrase home, use it in your training. Don't be lazy in learning. Don't be casual in learning. Develop a whole new intensity for the 90s that you're not going to miss the information. You're not going to miss the stories. You're not going to miss the details. Get smart. Here's a couple of parts to it. Number one, your own personal experience. Right? If you've had a bad week, just sit down and ponder that for a while. Study it. See if you can't pick up some ideas from a poor week and then make a better week. Okay? Learn from your own experiences. One way to learn to do it right is do it wrong. And that's one way to learn to do it right. Do it wrong. Now the key is don't let it take too long. If you've done it wrong for a year, we suggest that's long enough. You don't need another year just to prove a point. No, 1 year is enough. Learn from your own experience.
Try as hard as you wish, and you cannot be happy unless you believe in yourself. Work with all the strength at your command, and you cannot accumulate more than barely enough to live on unless you believe in yourself. The one and only person in all this world through whose efforts you can be supremely happy under all circumstances, and through whose labor you can accumulate all the material wealth that you can use legitimately, is yourself. Self-confidence might rightly be understood as the backbone of Hill's success system. But despite how crucial it is for prosperity and happiness, this characteristic is significantly underdeveloped in most individuals. The majority of human beings in today's world move through life aimlessly and dejectedly, casting their eyes on the ground rather than up and ahead to the financial, spiritual, and emotional riches they could claim. They allow external opinions to dictate how they see themselves and how they see the world. Their passivity permits negative thoughts to infiltrate their subconscious mind, which then undermines them by working to translate those dominating ideas into reality. As a result, people without self-confidence drift through life, endlessly dissatisfied with their circumstances and using this unrest as an alibi for their poor self-regard. The time for self-doubt and self-criticism is over. Your faith in yourself and your ability to attain your chief desire make the difference between your success and failure. Hanging in the balance are your emotional and financial security. Today, this very minute, you begin a journey of discovering, acknowledging, and sharing your strengths so that you can retain the energy and motivation you need to achieve your goals. With a strong sense of self-worth, no amount of poverty can keep you from success. Confidence is a state of mind necessary to succeed, and the starting point of developing self-confidence is definiteness of purpose. When you recognize that you are not powerless to change your circumstances, that regardless of your material resources, you have a priceless asset in your thoughts that can be directed toward achieving exactly what you want in life, your motivation and your ability to accomplish more in life will greatly improve. You will realize that you, not anyone or anything else, are the master of your fate and the captain of your soul.
Something unpleasant happens to you during the day. Go to the mirror and say, "I love you anyway." Because events come and go, but the love that you have for yourself can be constant. And it is the most important quality you possess in your life. If something wonderful happens, go to the mirror and say thank you. Acknowledge yourself for creating this wonderful experience. You can forgive in the mirror too. Forgive yourself and forgive others. You can talk to other people in the mirror, especially when you're afraid to talk to them in person. You can clean up old issues with people, parents, bosses, doctors, children, lovers. You can say all sorts of things that you would be afraid to say otherwise. And remember to end by asking them for their love and approval, because that is what you really want. People who have problems loving themselves are almost always people who are not willing to forgive, because not forgiving shuts the door to the heart. When we forgive and let go, not only does a huge weight drop off our shoulders, but the doorway to our own self-love opens up. People will say, "Oh, such a load is dropped off." Well, of course it has, because we've been carrying this burden forever. Dr. John Harrison states that forgiveness of both the self and the parents, coupled with the release of past hurts, cures more illness than any antibiotic ever could. It takes a lot to make children stop loving their parents, but when they do, it takes even more for them to forgive them. When we won't forgive, when we won't let go, we're binding ourselves to the past. And when we are stuck in the past, we cannot live in present time. And if we are not living in the present, how can we create our glorious future? Old garbage from the past just creates more garbage for the future.